You are listening to the USDN on the DSPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody? It's the chairman of the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. And this good-looking fella next to me is Duke Electric, and tonight we're going to talk about his brand new Kickstarter, Greg. Duke, welcome to the show.
Hey, Chairman. Nice to have you. Nice to be here with you. And I'm sorry, I'm still like feeling that intro. It hyped me up so much to get into this.
It does. I love my intro. It's one of my favorite things about the podcast here. I can't thank my good friend Kelvin Black Mac over on the Smoke Pit for hooking that up for me and giving me that. It is an awesome thing. But you have an awesome thing going on right now, and we're going to dive into that tonight. So right now you are working in the entertainment industry. You do live music, animation, with some pretty big names like Warner Bros, Netflix, PBS, Nickelodeon, and DreamWorks. Now, how has that influenced what you're doing right now with your very first comic book?
I think with a lot of that, working in animation, I've learned a lot of just, how to structure a project and structure how to go about each stage of a project and work your way from nothing to having something. And I kind of treated this like an animation process, almost like a storyboard. I just, one of my main focuses in animation when I'm working, I usually coordinate and manage and PA. So I work a lot with different departments, but my main departments are post-production and storyboards. So I've learned a lot with storyboards over time, how to make a good storyboard, how to, lay out a story, how to, make things look good.
It's a pretty common theme, actually, among some of the other comic book artists that I've interviewed in the past, is they work with storyboards for different, television companies, whether it be Netflix or Hulu or whoever. And that's kind of like a big thing and a good, like, with their starting points. Like, yes, I do this for money, but it's to fund me doing my comic book, And
it's a good exercise. Like I don't do storyboards myself, but I know a lot of people and work with a lot of people, like you said, that are in comics and they do storyboards. And, it's just good exercise. It keeps their craft up, gives them practice during the week and gets them paid. And then, they take that skill and then they put it towards, their projects, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. So what kind of challenges have you faced kind of from, like, not necessarily, you're not transitioning into comic books. Comic books is kind of like your side project that you're, say, a hobby for you.
Yes.
Like, have you faced many challenges in, like, kind of like in getting into that part of the world, or?
Yeah, I would say, I've always admired comics. I always read comics, and I usually like to learn how to do things that I like, just so I can get a better understanding of it. Comics has been interesting because, I just have never fully done it. I did one comic a long time ago, which was actually the first version of Greg before it was Greg.
Okay.
And it was in high school, and I really had a good experience doing it, and it was very interesting. And learning the process of, going from your sketches to your inks and, then adding your color and your text boxes and all that stuff. And so my biggest challenge on Greg was just getting my art to a level that I could find acceptable to put out there for people to buy, because I have really high standards when it comes to art and music and stuff, and I just want to make sure people are getting the best that I can deliver. And if it's not there, I'm not going to put it out, right? So
no, I think that passion shows, man, right down to the bright pink suit.
Thanks, man. Thank you. You got to look good. You're selling a product, and also
hey, you look good, you feel good, your work is good.
And I'm on the USDN podcast, so I gotta look good for you, man. I'm here.
Hey, you're one up in me. The best I can do is a chairman T-shirt.
Hey, that's something, right?
Shout out to Con, who makes my T-shirts for me. She's amazing. So do you work in both digital and traditional medias? Like, how do you decide kind of like what tools you were going to use when you were drawing Greg? And because you're the man, you do it all. You wrote it, you inked it, you colored it, you did the lettering, you did the whole nine.
So the only thing I did some of the lettering. I didn't do 100% of the lettering. I did use some typeface for some of the stuff just to save time. But a lot of the effects and other things I did the lettering for.
Okay.
Just to put it out there. But the overall though, yeah, I didn't know actually where to start. I started this project, I used to draw a lot when I was in high school and when I was younger, and I got more into music and other things throughout my life, and I kept putting my art on the back burner. You have a bad art teacher or bad art experience a couple times, and you're like, you know what, whatever.
Yeah, I think we all experience that.
Yeah.
Just like that one art teacher, just teacher in general, who, like, the moment you walked into their classroom, you're like, you're my pariah this semester.
Yeah. And, it's hard to find a good teacher that will kind of, make that fire turn into a bigger flame to get you into that, passion and that zone. And, it took me working in animation to, kind of watch people do art to be like, oh, like, because I sometimes would just draw things because I'd be like, okay, I'm going to draw this. And then I would draw it and I'd be like, oh, it doesn't look good, or there's a mistake. And I would just be like, okay, that's just going in the garbage. Like, I'm going to do another thing. I'm going to try it again. And, when you watch people, in animation or any art, they kind of just do things in layers and as paintings. So it's just kind of like, well, here's my like starting part, and I'm just going to erase that part now, and I'm just going to redo that part, and I'm just going to keep doing it until I get it. And so there's a lot of that. And my art skill wasn't where I wanted it to be at the beginning of Greg. I wish I had the picture. I have a funny picture of just like where it was, and I remember drawing it, and I was like, I don't think I should be doing this. Like, this is going to be awful. And I just kind of, I work is busy, music's busy, life's busy. And so I had to find a way to fit this in. So I would basically just do, like, if I had 10 minutes, I would do writing, or if I had 30 minutes, I'd sit and watch TV and draw. And then a lot of the time I usually just try and do my sketches. I'll do my drawing, and then I'll take a picture of it on my phone or a device, move it digitally. I'll do another pass digitally. And then if I like what I see digitally, but it's too digital and it's not like the details I want, I'll then take it back to sketching. I'll just print it off. Like, I'll print a black and white thing of it.
Yeah.
I'll just redraw it, and then I'll do ink, and then I'll put it in. And if I don't like any parts of that, then I'll just redo those sections digitally. And then usually I'll color it digitally and go from there.
I think that's when I talked to Fran, he like I was telling you before we got started, the artist over for Vitalirium, that's how he does it as well. He does paper, takes a picture of it, works on it digitally. Sometimes he'll reprint it, and then when he finally is done, coloring is a blessing because it can cover up some of, like, a part maybe where you're not quite satisfied with, like, something. You're like, adding color and depth will fix that in the final process of the page. So, but that seems to kind of, I like that technique, and that's a lot of a technique that I see a lot of the bigger artists out there doing it, like the the DC guys, the Marvel guys. Like a lot of them have YouTube pages that are phenomenal where they show you their process
Oh yeah.
and they're just like they make it look so easy. Just I'm like they're like, oh, it's easy, and as they do the whole page from a comic book, and you're like, no, that's not easy.
Not easy to say. And some of those guys too, like they'll like really get into Photoshop and stuff, and you see that with some of the issues of Batman and stuff, where the lighting and everything, and you're just like, whoa, like there's something about this that's really crazy and really like cool, and really detailed. But yeah, like people that master Photoshop and are good artists, like they take things to the next level.
Oh yeah, and they're phenomenal. All praise to them, man, because I know that is not an easy thing to do. So let me ask you this: I know you're a fan of comic books. Was there one particular comic book for you that said, "I think I want to do something like this one day"?
Maybe. Obviously, when I got back into comics, because I got really into comics as a kid, and animation got me into comics. My cousins got me into comics because they collected X-Men and they're older than me and stuff. I think Todd McFarlane's work really like inspired me into like wanting to do stuff like his Spider-Mans and Spawn.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask you, if it was his Spider-Man or his Spawn when he went indie.
Yeah. I Spawn and Todd McFarlane's Canadian, so like Canadian heritage all the way, and
I think he still lives up there, if I'm not mistaken.
He might. He moves around. I've seen different. Like I think he might have a place somewhere. I don't want to say. It might be Nevada. I'm not sure, but I think he goes back and forth a lot from Alberta to the States. But his story is just like really influential. Just a guy who lived in a trailer, grew up playing baseball, got an injury, became Todd McFarlane, the comic book creator, and just
dude, that's
right? Like
yeah, no, he honestly, when a few years back when I got back into comic books, like my daughter wanted to stop by our local comic shop and just have a look around. And as I was browsing the shelves, I was like, what the hell? Spawn is still in production? So I was just like, dude, I love Spawn. I remember getting to like the first, 15 or 20 of the books when they first came out and still having those somewhere. I mean, I know where they are now. I know what box they're in. But back, a couple of years ago, they were still at my mom's house. And then like just falling back in love with his stuff. It was like, because at first I was just like, oh, I'm just going to do Spawn again.
Yeah.
And then I discovered, what's his name? Tinian. And once you discover Tinian, you kind of go into like a cave of Tinian's work, and you realize how much work he has, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to get lost in this. And you do. It consumes you because his work to me, so I don't really have a Mount Rushmore, but McFarlane and Tinian are like up there with me with like Capullo and Jim Lee and those guys. So, but no, I 100% get where you're coming from with Todd, because they don't call him the Todd father for nothing.
Yeah, definitely. And just him having his own project that he's like, this is my thing. I've been working, like he worked on his since high school, and like he just kicked ass and persevered and pushed and just got his way into comics, and just worked.
And look at Image today. Yeah. Image is probably, from a publisher standpoint, they publish more books per year, I think, than any other publishers out there.
Oh yeah.
And they're the home to the most indie creators out there.
Yep. Well, and some of the biggest flagship comics now, like Walking Dead, like
Invincible, Transformers now, G.I. Joe, Spawn, that list just keeps going. Battle Beast.
Right.
So I mean, yeah, he knew what he was doing, and he brought his friends with him, because now, I mean, you got spinoffs under Image. You have what was Skybound. you have, I don't know if I think Tiny Onion is just independent because they do Boom Studios and they also work with Image and they also work with Dynamite as well. But then you have Ghost Machine that I'm absolutely infatuated with right now. I think those guys are doing some of the best work out there right now with their works with Rookettes, and it's just finally hitting the shelf again. So, yeah, dude. Shout outs to Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
We love you, dude.
He's the man.
Absolutely. So, we're going to talk about the pink suit. You're known for rocking this hot pink suit at conventions. So can the fans expect to see you at upcoming conventions during the Kickstarter campaign or after with your promotion of Greg?
So I think at the moment, my next thing I'm doing a Guelph Comic Con out in Ontario, Canada. It's the Comic Book Jam 25 at the Dragon bookstore in Guelph, and they have a lot of creators coming to do tables and stuff, and it's free, which is awesome. So like, you just come in, you can meet people, hang out, buy books, get them signed. It's gonna be a lot of fun. That's the only one I'm doing that is during the Kickstarter campaign, but I will be doing a Kitchener Halloween market at the museum in Kitchener, Ontario, and then I'm doing a punk rock flea market in Kitchener, Waterloo. I
seen you were talking about that on your Instagram.
Yeah. So that will be later in November, but
that one was a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
As soon as I seen it was like a punk rock festival, I was like, damn, I kind of want to go to that because there's nothing like that around here. That would be amazing.
Yeah, and I figured
punk rock and comic books. Come on.
Yeah, well, I think I might be the only comic book person there, but
oh, really? That's even better for you.
Yeah, I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go sell my comic at this punk rock event because there's nothing more punk rock than having a comic that's pink with a guy in a pink suit and selling comics about people's heads exploding from good looks. So it's.
That's the perfect segue, dude, because we're about to talk about Greg.
Nice.
So for listeners who are brand new, what exactly is Greg, and how did you get the idea for such a wild over to the top premiere, comic book?
Yeah, so Greg is a man with a condition, and his condition is that he's so good looking that if you see his face, your head will explode. And so
love it.
He has to wear a hood and to protect himself. He wears like a full like bodysuit, and he has like under layers and everything, just because any person that sees his face or his skin or anything, that light that shines from his good looks will just kill you, basically. So this is his origin story for Greg. Greg issue 0.
We're all safe because you promised me that this is not an autobiography, so we are all safe tonight.
Yes. So you're all good. My good looks do not match Greg, but they can be powerful at times, I've heard. So,
you got CJ in the house from Nightmares and Nerdscapes.
Yo, what's up? How you doing, man?
You're into horror and horror movies. He has the podcast and the YouTube channel for you. He does some phenomenal work in breaking down your horror movies.
Nice. I'll have to check
that out. So this is right up his alley.
Yeah.
I mean, we got heads exploding.
Yeah, message me. I'll send you a digital copy of Greg. But yeah, so this issue is basically his birth. He's being birthed. It's his birthday.
His sweet mama Angie.
Yep, his sweet mama Angie's given birth to him. It's been 24 hours in labor, and everyone's tired. Everyone's getting to the point of we gotta push this boy out, and she does that final push, and out comes Greg, and it causes some issues for other people because they're looking at the most
that page of this comic book. Phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, it's just. Yeah, my wife got me to do that panel. I didn't want to do it, and she was like, "No, you need to have this panel."
It's electric. Good for him pushing him to do that page because that page was amazing.
Yeah. I was when I had it, I was like, I don't know. Definitely. And it was crazy. And so I did it. I put it in. Ever since I printed it the first time, I was like, I don't know if this
No,
page works.
that
But
single page right
yeah,
there is worth the asking price, in my opinion.
ever.
Just that bright light, and then
Yeah.
what you see of his face melting. I was like, oh, I'm like, that's how you start a issue 0 comic book for a character like Greg. I was just like, this is perfect. I'm like, he knew what he was doing. And now when you tell me like, oh no, my wife made me do that page, I was like,
Yeah, yeah. She knows her stuff. She's very good with film, and she yeah. I because I had she was like, you need to have something in between. I was like, I don't know. I feel like it works fine, whatever. And she's like, don't you need something? So I one night I just did one, and I was like, is this good? Like, I don't know. And I put it in. I was like, I guess that works. And then I was still kind of like hesitating. I was like, and I almost didn't put it in, but she pushed me, and I agree with her now 100% because everyone likes it. I
that
like
was
it.
that's a good call. Definitely a good call.
And that's the foil print on the Kickstarter. I haven't posted it yet, but that's going to be what I'm hoping to have as the Kickstarter print. So if you don't want to buy the comic and you want the print, there's going to be 8.5 by 11 print of that. That's foil of that shot. So
Oh, that would be awesome. That just framed on the wall. I don't know if you can see that, but we're talking about Todd McFarlane.
Hell
That's
yeah.
the Capullo Spawn
Batman
cover for Batman Spawn 2, the one they just did last year.
That's so good. I had to pick that one up. I have the original one, and I remember reading it.
War Dog.
Yeah, I remember the scene from that book that like opened my like head to horror was like when I forget who the character was, but he just like stabs that guy in the eyes, and like the blood's just everywhere. And I was just like, holy shit! I'm reading.
My favorite thing from that book, and I know we're off base on this, but we're us both being Capullo and McFarlane fans. When Batman hits Spawn in the face with the Batarang and it splits his face open, and he wrought that for years with just the sewn up face, the stitched together face, and it become canon. And I was just like, Todd, you sweet man, you knew what we wanted, and you gave it to us for years after until he finally, he healed himself in a new arc. But yeah, that book was phenomenal. War Dog was an amazing book. If people can get it, I got 2 copies myself because one's a reader and one's a collector. And yeah,
that's awesome. But and then for the rest of Greg, it just turns into just a bloodbath of people's heads exploding and people having.
It's amazing. It was just like, you're like, when are people going to stop coming in? And it's just like another nurse, and then it's a janitor. You're like, what the hell? People stop going in. And what are you doing?
I was going to have one more person originally come in, and I was like, I think there's just too many people coming at this point.
One more would have never hurt. One more would have never hurt. Just like someone obscure walking by, and just being like, ah.
But
somebody, another dad walking by, and then all of a sudden just boom.
Well, I wanted it. There's more to that later and like later issues of that event.
I like the segue because that was the next question. Yeah. So you blended the humor, like the absurdity of Greg, and you got some classic comic energy in there in the later part of the book. Where are you going with this series? I kind of feel like, because you kind of, when we got to the later pages of Greg 0. We kind of get to see where Greg is later in life, which is really cool. Very non-traditional role as an adult, Greg. Yeah. Because how do you find a normal job when you have to wear a hood on your head?
Yeah.
So where do you see this going for you and Greg as a whole?
So right now, in the in-betweens between that section and the birth of Greg, we see some like newspaper articles of like where he's been, where he's going, what happened. So basically I'm kind of doing it in a style where we have his beginning and then we have his end. Well, yeah, definitely. You can't work customer service wearing a hood as well.
I don't know. Some of the kids today might try.
Well, true. But for this, I'm just basically taking it to almost his end of his career. So the next issue catches up where we leave off in this. So he's in his career as a great fighter, wrestler guy. Basically, he fights in this thing called the Fighter G tournament. And
Might higher. Do y'all have a Spencer's up there in the mall?
we do
Okay.
have those. Yeah. We have the Spirit Halloweens too. We got that.
Okay.
It took a while. We took a while, but we got them.
All right, good. You got to have at least 30 Spirit of Halloweens.
Definitely. But we catch up with him. He's in a fighting league called the Fighter G tournament, and
fantastic scenes too. Just
thank you. Yeah, and
the raw grittiness of that fight, and it was like wrestling meets MMA. I loved it.
That's the goal, and it's like kind of like a death ring thing where it's just kind of like you can bring weapons in, you can do whatever, but he's the champion of this realm. Like he's spent his life fighting, trying to survive, trying to avoid, killing people, and also just having his condition. And so we catch up with him in that issue, and we kind of go through his downfall, and then we find out where he is kind of at the end of his career. So it's kind of like, I don't want to say a Dark Knight Returns at that point, but it's kind of like we catch up to him after this critical, huge event that happens that causes issues. I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's an event that happens that his good looks do something bad. And so basically he then has to kind of face the music of what happened, and there's a mystery of why that happened. And basically from there we follow his story of him and his manager / foster brother trying to find purpose in his life and trying to redeem himself from being so good looking and killing people, but also trying to be the man he wants to be and go out on a good note. And so
he didn't ask to be born that good looking.
No, it's just a condition. And it's not his fault, like you said, but unfortunately when you have a condition like that, there's going to be accidents, there's going to be fuck ups, and and his life's full of them with that. And so we kind of learn about his life throughout the series. Right now I have kind of 7 volumes mapped out. I have the first volume done, which is basically the Legendary Knights volume, which is the first issue, is the next one. But and then I have the next volume, Occupational Hazards. Actually, Greg does get a job in that. He does get a job,
an actual real job.
He tries to get a real job because he has to pay the rent. So it's going to be good. There's a lot of craziness, and his good looks end up having an issue. And from that critical event I mentioned earlier, as Greg tries to redeem himself, people from his past affected by that event and other events from his good looks start coming out of the woodwork to fight him or challenge him or find ways to try and discourage him from completing his goal of redemption, basically. So
no, I like it, dude. I like that you got it mapped out that way. And that I think is a golden standard to have when you're mapping out, like, just a comic book in general. Is just like, I have my start and I have my finish. I'm working on everything in between. I know Nick, who actually writes the Vitellarium book and comic book, he's like, yep, I know how it started, I know how I'm going to end it. It's just I got a semi roadmap on how to get there. He's like, it's like, as we go, well, that's how we do it.
Exactly.
So that's cool to have. So let's dive into the actual Kickstarter itself. What made you decide to do crowdfunding such as Kickstarter to launch Greg?
So,
which is kind of an easy question. I'm kind of tossing you one up there because Kickstarter is phenomenal. I love Kickstarter.
So I first printed some copies of Greg, the Ash Can editions.
I seen you were selling them in your local comic shop.
Yeah, I wanted to see how they would do, and they've been doing pretty well. Like, I just got word that one of the stores needs a restock, which is great. Which is the second store that's done that now. So I'm kind of just seeing how it's doing. It's doing good, and I was kind of like, you know what? I I want to get this out to a bigger audience, but I
Mhm.
don't want to be a one-man distribution company where I'm just trying to mail everything out,
Yeah.
especially during this awkward mail time. So I figured I would just do a Kickstarter and see what the response is. And I was like, if I get the response that that of people enjoying this and that they want stuff, then great, let's do it. And if not, then at least, okay, I know I can just do a different thing with Greg, and I don't have to keep doing a comic. Maybe I can do a radio play or just write what I need to and put it out there as writing.
Yeah. No, I think this is one of those where I know you want to see it to the end, and it deserves to be seen to the end because it is such a phenomenal kickoff to what I feel like will be a great series of storytelling for you.
Thanks, man.
So I know you just launched it on the 28th, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
And for those who were on the Facebook group and on the Instagram, I did include a link to the Kickstarter for y'all if you want to go check that out. What I want to do real quick is let me do a share screen, and I want to share that, and I'll add that to the stage real quick. So this is what the front page of the Kickstarter looks like for Duke here. It's very easy to navigate. So I've never shown it from this perspective before. Normally I will ask you if I can do a like, hey, can we show a sneak peek real quick of the comic?
For sure.
But I just wanted to show y'all what that looked like. You can kind of see where he is in the pledge and what the goal is he's trying to reach and how many days are left, for this. But if you click back the project, it'll take you straight in to the actual where you can make a pledge. You can do just a donation to it. You can request to get the book. I do know there are some shipping issues currently happening between the United States and the world. So it's something to keep in mind too, that especially right now, that there are those issues happening. So keep that in mind when you are back in the book. But that's what it looks like. I wanted to show that for everybody because I've never done this before. I've never shown kind of what it looks like.
And yeah, and the thing is too with the shipping, like I know US and Canada are having some issues with the shipping and stuff, but we're finding ways around it as best we can. And thanks, man. Appreciate that.
It's really fun. It's such a great read, CJ.
Yeah, I'll send me a message. I'll send you a digital copy of it to check out.
But with your permission, Duke,
yeah,
can I show him like just a little preview of the book?
Oh yeah, of course, please.
So I don't want to give too much away so this is what the ash can version of the book is, I believe. And it was really cool, really dope cover. The foil, I love foil covers. That's me. Foil covers have always done it for me. But and then a little something from I'm guessing this is for your son that was just recently born. No relations to Greg.
Yeah,
we want to put that out there. He was writing a comic book before his son was born.
Yeah. Now my son did blow my mind and my heart, but he did not pull a Greg and destroy my face and head.
I know I wasn't sharing the comments, CJ. I'm sharing the comic right now. Oh, I'm not sharing the comic right now.
Yeah, I don't think you. I thought maybe it was just me, but
no, that's my bad.
No worries. I do have a copy of it right here while you do that. The foil, just so you can see it. Looks nice.
That one.
Our local printer / comic book shop in Kitchener, Comic Studio Press, did it, and they did a really good job with the foil and everything. So it's pretty sick. So this one's the ash can, and then it comes with the print backboard.
Oh, here we go.
And we also have this on the inside.
Yeah.
It's just the newspaper and stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool how you added the newspapers in the middle of the comic.
Yeah.
But here we go. Let me So this is the comic book. My bad. Thanks, CJ, for pointing that out for me. But like I was saying, this is the ash can cover. What would have been the ash can cover. Which ash cans are cool for those of you not familiar with it. That's what an ash can would look like. And then this is what I was talking about. The letter to his baby boy from. Is that your? Or is this from Angie? Like, is this meant to be from Angie? Is the mom's name to Greg?
Yeah.
So is this meant to be from mom to Greg?
Yeah. So basically, it was
okay.
It was
I
written.
didn't know if you were doing like a little what are they called? I thank you to my son for inspiring me type of deal.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's one of the questions I wanted to ask you
No.
about. Like, hey, is this a?
No, this was just so basically it's supposed to be a photo album, and this was supposed to be written on the inside of it, which is just Greg's mom, Angie, just writing this message before she goes into labor, basically.
Okay.
And I got my wife to do it. So this is my wife's handwriting.
I knew it was a very feminine handwriting. That's why I was wondering if it was like if she wrote like a little something for your son that was just born.
Yeah, I think she put some feeling into it with that for sure. So, and yeah,
it's very emotional. It's very heartfelt. It's really. I was like, oh man, that's such a great guy right there. Look at that. But I don't. Like I said, we're not going to scroll too far. We'll give a couple of pages, and I love the art on this. And just every way everything is done. And that's, here we are with Angie in the delivery room, getting ready to deliver the most handsome baby in the world. And that's all you're getting. You'll have to get the book to see the rest. I promise you, it does not disappoint.
Yeah. It's a fun book for sure. I know I'm saying that because I wrote it and made it, but it really is like it has a lot of crazy influences. It's been getting good reviews as well from some other indie reviewers, and it's just been an awesome time making it. And the main influence for that scene too is if you remember Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, where Doc Ock is like turning into Doc Ock. I use that a lot for the reference to just try and get that vibe. The hardest part of Greg is that when he makes people's heads explode, they also like orgasm. They have like an orgasmic violence thing. So I was trying to find a way to draw that without making it stupid or like too distracting. I don't know if you guys remember those Herbal Essence commercials from the 90s where like women are like washing their hand like, oh yeah, and then like, yeah, like, oh my God, I wonder what she's having. But that also inspired Greg's powers. So basically, there's a panel, you've probably seen it, Jeff, but it's when the lady sees Greg and then she has the herbal essence moment, and then her head explodes, basically.
The nurse.
Yeah.
Oh no, It's really. It's worth the investment in the book. It was a phenomenal read. Absurd as it may seem, it is just amazing, and it's just a fun read. If you're into, like, I love B horror movies, and that's the vibe I got, and I was just like, this is right up my alley. I love like the B blend horror movies, and I know CJ does too. So
nice.
So. Well, staying in the Kickstarter campaign, what kind of rewards can backers look forward to? You have any stretch goals planned, exclusive perks that you yourself are excited about? Or with this being your first one, you're like, we're doing the book.
Yeah, right now.
That's cool too. I like when people just go, hey, you're getting the book.
So I've been talking to our print shop out here about that, because they do a lot of Kickstarter stuff, and I wanted to get some ideas on what we could do or like what freebies we can throw in. Right now, a lot of the tiers I have, like, we're just throwing in like everything in those tiers up front. So like if you get the ash can or the first edition press, like you're getting the foil print, you're getting the backboard print, you're getting the in-ad artwork, you're getting it signed, everything signed, hand numbered. You're getting a letter from me that's personalized. You're getting I don't even know, there's like tons of stuff. You're getting a digital version of it. you're getting stickers, you're getting like a bunch of stuff. Like there's a lot in those. Like I have to pull it up actually on my end just to make sure I'm getting everything.
I think I already did. I
Let me
close
see
it
here.
already? No, I didn't close it.
Oh, you also get your name included in the standard print edition.
Oh, that's really dope.
You get a social media shout out. You get a version of your name in the PDF version that we'll be sending out. And then, yeah, you get a letter from me. And yeah, you get a lot of awesome perks with it, which, you know, I was trying to compare it to other Kickstarters and stuff that I've backed in the past. And a lot of the time, you know, they'll charge like so much more for like a signature and other things like that. And like,
Yeah.
you know, I understand the value of, you know, doing that and stuff.
I seen you have a comic shop tier, which is cool because I don't see a lot of Kickstarters doing that, and that's something that I really think is dope to see. Is that you're given an opportunity for a comic book shop to order multiple prints in order to sell.
Yeah,
so that's really cool.
And yeah, with those two, like we're putting out. So there's a few editions. So obviously there's the Ashcan, which is only 21 left. I only have 21 issues of that left, and they're all on the Kickstarter right now. So
first 21 people.
Yeah, and then our first edition prints, we still have. I only put 225. Like there's only 225 of those I'm putting on Kickstarter because I realized I need 25 because I have to go to some conventions. So the other 25 I'll be selling there, but Kickstarter people get the first dibs at the number order of being signed, hand numbered to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's first come first serve on that. We have our standard edition, which I'll sign. I'll do similar stuff with that, and then we have an edition called the Bad Economy edition. So that is just basically a shrunken version of the regular Greg Delivery Room Massacre.
Here we go. I'll bring it back up for you.
Awesome. Yeah, it's just half the size for the Bad Economy edition, and it's just cheaper.
So, what's cool is that I've seen other comic book companies starting to do that as well. I know Marvel and DC just did a lineup of the miniatures, like the 8.5 by 4.5 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
which I thought was kind of cool. I mean, it's not my thing, but I thought it was really cool that people are doing that.
Yeah, I still have to do a print test of those. I have that already on my computer. I just have to get it to the shop. Actually, I'm going to the shop tomorrow to print the foil artwork that we discussed.
Okay.
And doing the Bad Economy print. So I'll have those pictures in a day
right there.
So yeah, but overall, the Bad Economy edition, I just wanted to have something that people could just buy because it is a bit expensive, and I want to try to keep things as accessible as possible and easy.
Yeah.
A good deal, and some people just want to buy the comic. They don't want to have the foil or have a collector's thing. They're just like, I just want to buy the comic. And I was like, well, if I can do one that's half the size, half the price, and still sign it or give a digital download code, like give some extras with it, then let's do it. And so that's what we're doing, and then we're giving that option to comic book stores as well for retail. So
that's really dope, man. Like I said, you don't see a lot of Kickstarters doing that, and I wish more would.
Yeah,
because that's really cool to include.
Yeah, we just I don't know what stores would want to carry. Like I'm sure a lot would, but I just
honestly that's not bad. It's about $73 US, and you get 20 copies of it. Well, looks like 60. You get 20 digital, 20 signed, and then 20 of the economy edition. That's really dope.
Yeah, and then I'll sign them all too for the store, so they'll get that thrown in as well as the incentive to sell them.
No, that's really cool. That's like I said, you're the first person I've seen to really do something like that, and I think that's really cool to offer that to comic book shops.
Yeah, and it gets the comic out there. It gets people interested, and it also brings people to the shops. And I'm trying to push this as much as I can. It's a passion project, and it's 100% indie, 100% organic, and it's 100% just punk rock, trying to get it out there. So
I like it, man. I'm impressed that you thought of that, because that to me is a big one for not only you to do that, but also to give that option to comic book shops to do, because like I said, it's not something you see often.
Yeah.
And if you do see it, it's a whole hell of a lot more than 100 Canadian.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I have a good relationship with our printers out here. And, basically I was just like, how can we do this? Like, how can we get, and things, a lot of comic books are printed in Canada and shipped to the States. So
Yeah.
our comic studio press that does all of my stuff, they're an awesome company. They have a website where you can order indie comics and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, but they're a comic book shop, family business, and they just operate a print shop as well as a comic book shop, and they help people with Kickstarters and comics and everything and printing.
That's really cool. That's how Image got it. Its big thing started too, is they bought a print shop.
Yeah. And yeah, these guys are just doing the best they can, trying to get stuff out. And their goal right now is to try and, with everything being as crazy as it has been with, with Diamond shutting down and all these other things, they're trying to be like, hey, you know what?
I still don't think they've shut down all the way.
No,
but I do know that a lot of people have jumped ship already and moved over to Penguin.
Yeah. Yeah. And so these guys out here are like, hey, we got indie comics. They're Canadian, they're ready to export. So
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And good for them being still a family run shop like that. That's really dope.
Yeah.
You don't see a lot of that at all anymore.
Yeah. I remember when I moved out this way, and I went to this mall and I saw it. I was like, that's such an interesting comic shop. And then I went in and I was like, oh, this is also a print shop. Like, this is pretty good combo here.
That's really cool. Yeah.
So
people who are new to indie comics, why is supporting Greg on Kickstarter, and really just any comic book on Kickstarter, so important to both the artist and what it is that you're trying to give to people, in your opinion? Like,
yeah, I think the number one thing is it helps give, it shows people that there's value in the product and in the story, in the art, in the overall, need for new stories and new creative things. And a lot of these companies and stuff look for that, and if they see it, it didn't make its quota, or didn't make the pledge number or whatever, that's seen as like a negative, right? So that's the number one thing. If you can do anything for anyone's Kickstarter, send a couple bucks, do just a regular pledge. You don't have to order things, but just showing that there's interest in it goes a long way to helping an artist or writer or whatever the project
and
is.
We've also seen a lot of bigger names do Kickstarters to get their like passion projects funded. We just seen it recently with Mark Spears and his Monsters, which, Monsters started out as a card game that he then adopted into a comic book. And I think the first volume was actually, issue 1 was done 100% on Kickstarter before it got picked up by the Keen Spot is who picked it up. And I think they're on like issue 6 now, and that's a phenomenal read.
Wow. Yeah,
so dude, Smart Spears, it's phenomenal.
That's great.
Mark Spears has some very unique, very good art, and his storytelling has, like, from being a pure artist at first and then going into the storytelling portion, he's absolutely killing it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it just goes to show what Kickstarter means to the independent artists out there, even for the big name artists out there who are trying to get their passion projects funded, and what it could possibly do for them, such as we just seen Mark Spears. Granted, it is Mark Spears getting his book picked up by an actual publishing company and getting it published by them versus him trying to crowdfund it each and every issue. So it does go a really long ways, and it helps artists get discovered. Who knows? We may see Duke Electric's name on a big comic book one day when we walk into our local comic shop.
Maybe that'd be cool. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I know everybody learns something new each and every time they do this. And I know you're learning as you go. And I just told you about my friend Bruno's, Kickstarter how-to that I'll shoot me a message after this and I'll shoot that over to you.
Sure.
Because I really do think that he's done a phenomenal job of putting together a really good lessons learned thing. So
I do want to say too, it does help build community as well, because you're getting people coming together from different angles of the comic book world, you know, people that are just interested in just backing things. You know, so far on the Kickstarter, we're almost a quarter way to our goal, and there's people I don't even know that are, you know, into it, and I'm just like, oh, that's cool. And it also helps motivate the artist to be like, hey, you know what,
you brought something completely new to the table too, because a lot of people, they release like 1 or 2 issues, and then they're like, oh, you know what? Let me give a little bit more backstory and give them an issue 0. You were like, I'm starting with the issue 0, and we're going with it from there, which I think is really cool to do.
Thank you. Well, my goal is for Greg is that every issue takes it from 0 to 10 in craziness, and then leaves you on that cliffhanger.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, you started out at a 10.
Thank you.
So to get it to a 10 by issue 10 is gonna be, that's gonna be some work, man, because you really started it cranked up. So
well, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
So my last question I had for you is, what did you see kind of continuing beyond issue 0? But we've already talked about that. So at this point, I really don't have any more real interview questions for you, but anything else that you want to share with everybody?
Yeah, well, we got our trailer up on the Kickstarter. We had a guy, the name just left my head 2 seconds ago, Dan Silver, that edited it for us. So if you check out that trailer, that'll give you a lot of the comic art. It kind of goes through the whole comic, but it doesn't give anything away. You just get to see all the cool art and everything going on. So that's number one.
You did have a really cool trailer with it.
Thank you. And you know, this is a passion project. It's been in the works for a very long time, and yes,
he's wearing pants. He assured me he was wearing pants.
I am wearing pants. I can prove that. I can prove that right now.
Look at that pink suit. Oh, the sharpest dressed guy that's ever been on USDN right there.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I actually, I'll say this really quick too. I got some help writing and motivation from Scott Snyder, just because I joined his writing class during the pandemic, and so I actually pitched him Greg, and he really enjoyed it and really liked it, and he's got
a Kickstarter going on right now as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah. He's amazing, and he's a really nice guy, and I come to him. He's kind of like the guy I don't want to disappoint for comics, obviously, and so I have to email him because I need to talk to him about something, but which I've been meaning to, but I've been busy with my son. But yeah, I joined his writing class, and like I wrote my first volume. I would send him versions of it, and he would, you know, it was a writing exercise, so he'd be like, why don't you try doing it like this? Why don't you try doing it like this? And, you know, sometimes I didn't agree with, you know, the ideas he was giving to me, but I wanted to try and make it seem like I'm working for a big, you know, comic book company. I want to try to make this as real as possible. So I would take his idea and just rewrite what I was trying to do. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't work, but some of the stuff, you know, that I was planning on doing ages down the road come back earlier in this volume, because it's something that Scott would be like, hey, you know what, try maybe doing this, try maybe doing that. And yeah, he loved the version that we ended on. So I'm ready. I sent him the next volume, issue 1, and he was really down. Love that too. So, you know, it's
let's help people realize who Scott Snyder is real quick, because I don't know if a lot of people will know who he is. So Scott Snyder, the Batman Who Laughs, Batman, Death of the Jokers, Absolute Batman. Dude, the list goes on and on and on and
Batman. Not Batman, DC KO, which was just announced I think this week.
Yep,
it's another one. But yeah,
American Vampire, which was phenomenal. If you read that was a phenomenal read.
Witches, which has its Amazon series coming out soon as well.
You knew it. Yep, that's where I was going next.
Yep.
Justice League, Rebirth, you name it. I know he's got some other stuff going on too right now that he's working on, but yeah, he's not just like, oh, he's a Snyder. No, he's Scott Snyder. The dude is like coming to his own for quite a while now and has done some phenomenal work. So just wanted to put that out there. When we say Scott Snyder, we're talking about the Scott Snyder. So,
and I don't want to disappoint him. So, you know that I did my best to try to impress Scott Snyder to, you know,
hey,
like what I was doing. So
it's one of those things where if Scott Snyder has put that stamp on it, you need to get Greg and give it a read, because I'm telling you, from my perspective, as a collector, as a guy who's had the opportunity to read a lot of indie comic books, and that's mainly all I read is indie comic books. It's really, really good. It's fun. It's absolutely absurd. Yes, but that is what makes this comic so lovable and so much fun, is that you're so handsome. You make people's heads explode. It's a new concept. It's something new on the table. Check it out.
Hell yeah. And I will say, I don't have Scott's seal of approval to share that potentially, but I just want to let you guys know that I did take his writing class and that he liked it, and he's an awesome guy. And yeah, but he's amazing, and his writing class has been great, and he's helped me a lot with this book. So just getting me motivated, keeping me on track. So, you know, but there's expectations I need to get this book too for myself, and as well to not disappoint people that have put time and energy into, you know, looking and
it's phenomenal, dude. I love what you're doing with it. Yeah. But let's start putting the seal of approval on this. This was an absolute blast, man. I had so much fun talking to you about Greg and about Kickstarters and about you and learning who you are and where you're coming from. Let everybody know where they can find you and where they can find you on Kickstarter as well, like how they can search for you.
Yeah, so you can find me in a couple places. So on Instagram, you can follow Greg at Greg Comic Official. You can also follow my little writing company logo place where I do all my writing and comics and stuff. Is called Nerd in the Sky. So at Nerd in the Sky.
Which I love, by the way. I love that.
Thank you. And then if you look up, I'm on Blue Sky as Duke Electric, Duke_Electric. So you'll find me there. And then also we just have, you know, our website and our mailing list. We try to do as much as we can on the mailing list because, you know, social media is social media, and we want to try and keep people healthy and send them just emails. But, you know, if you're a social media person too, that's fine. We got you covered. But we put some exclusive stuff in our mailing list. The last time we sent some actual art from our next issue in it. So you get some, you know, previews of stuff that I'm not going to put on social media, so AI and stuff doesn't steal it. So you know, it's a cool world. And yeah, we're gonna keep on rolling. And you know, if anyone has any questions, feel free to DM me or reach out. Or if you have questions about the Kickstarter, reach out. The Kickstarter should be under Nerd in the Sky. If not, it's just under. I think
it was under Nerd in the Sky.
Yeah, at first it was under Greg, but I think I changed it to Nerd in the Sky just to keep it under that title. And
it's under Greg Comic Official.
Oh, okay, it's under Greg Comic Official. Okay, yeah, so it's under Greg Comic Official. You just have to type in Greg issue 0 Delivery Room Massacre, or I've also seen if you just type in Greg.
I just typed in Greg and it brought it right to it. Yeah.
There's not too many comics named Greg, so it's
Greg is a pretty basic name.
Yeah. You know, most Gregs love Greg. I've shared it with a few Gregs, and they give it the Greg seal of approval. So if you know someone named Greg, share this with them. They will also love it. So
I love it, dude. I really do. That's awesome. So that's all I got for everybody tonight. What's coming up for me is on what month is this? September the 20th. I will have a duo on board. And I've already announced that up on my social medias. And then I'll quick turn on the 24th and have Ben Lacey back on with Shark of War number 9. That's right. He's up to number 9 on that book. And it is a phenomenal series. If you're into mutated sharks that are used for war, then that is the comic book for you. But tonight is all about Greg. And this is the chairman saying that Greg has the USDN chairman's seal of approval, making him USDN approved. Not only that, that hot pink suit that Duke Electric wore for you tonight is also USDN approved. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I got for you tonight. Duke, I cannot thank you enough for coming on, sharing Greg with me and the whole Council of Nerds. With that, everybody, we are out of here. Y'all behave yourselves.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody. See you around. Take care.
It's a trap!